Alex said, I think Liverpool are planning for Diaz's departure. The Konate to Madrid talks today make me wonder if we're going to negotiate a deal for Rodrigo. So, yeah, I'll be a liar, mate, if I didn't say that's exactly where my mind went as well. So, there's a report coming out of Spain from their biggest radio station in Spain that Ibrahim Konate to Real Madrid is accelerating. They also say that Liverpool are seriously considering selling the defender this summer if he keeps refusing to renew. And I think, again, not knowing what's going through Konate's head, because we don't, the best scenario here for me is to sell him if he isn't going to sign a deal. I've said this all the way through. We'd all love Ibu to stay and agree a new deal at the club, but it doesn't look like at this point that's going to happen. I don't know if it's a very one-sided bit of reporting here from the Spanish side, because there's been lots of different outlets reporting that Konate's given his word, he wants to go to Madrid. If that's the case, then yeah, let's try to figure it out. And if we can work Rodrigo into some negotiation, I mean, I don't think there'd be too many of us unhappy. You don't want to lose Konate. Let's put that out there. We don't, but we are in a situation where if we can't agree, best to get some money. I don't think we can allow him to leave in a year and even try to justify it by saying, what if we win the Champions League by keeping him around? I just don't think it's worth it. I think you have to plan for moving on past him if he won't sign the new deal. That's the way I'd feel about it. Said, Real Madrid need to F off. I really don't get the mindset some players have. We won the Premier League. They won nothing. How does that make sense? So, look, every footballer probably has different motivations. So let's look at it from that angle. So what we know about Ibrahim Konate is he's a French boy, grew up in Paris. Maybe he likes the idea of the culture in Madrid as a city. I mean, maybe he likes the idea of playing at the Santiago Bernabeu. Maybe he likes the idea of having finished his career and saying, I played for Leipzig, I played for Liverpool, I played for Real Madrid, I played with France. I don't know. Different footballers are motivated by different things. Looking at Luis Diaz and Al Nassr, well, you might say, why would he go to Al Nassr? But remember, a lot of South American players or players from other parts of the world often come from backgrounds of financial difficulty that lots of us don't really ever experience. And the idea of going over, let's say, and playing a few years in Al Nassr tax-free for a very, very, very substantial wage could set up his family for generations. So I never judge people by what motivates them in football. All I ever ask for as a fan is honesty in these situations. If Diaz was to say, I want out, Al Nassr are offering me, and I'm just throwing this number out there, 500 grand a week tax-free for 4 years. That's a lot of money for future generations of his family. And that obviously came from very humble beginnings. So I'm not going to judge. I just, want the best for our club as well. Where was I here? This one. David Sultana said, we've got to be ruthless and get rid of all the players that don't want to be here and get as much money as we can. I agree, David, I agree. And look, I don't want us to be doing business with Real Madrid, but I would rather we do business with Real Madrid and try to include Konate in a deal for Rodrigo if we could figure that out. But what I don't know is, do we have any interest in Rodrigo? I know as a fan I do, but I don't know if the club does or not. I don't know that for a fact, one way or the other. A few sales will likely happen now. We've always known that before we move for a striker, that we were going to have to sell Darwin. So that really hasn't changed anything. If Darwin gets the move, and then we make the play for what seems to be Ekitike. But the centre-back situation is the one for me that gives me the most reason for concern, because I wonder, are we kind of hedging the bets a little bit, unsure what's going to happen? Like, if Konate signed a new contract, do I think Mark Gay would have been the name pushed forward? No, I don't. I think we probably would have looked for the younger centre-back, somebody like a Joel Haddo, maybe the young guy from Italy that we spoke about. But I think the uncertainty about Konate has given Liverpool reason to pause and maybe assess the centre-back market a little bit differently until we know what happens. Now, my concern is that maybe if we don't proceed with Mark Gay and we lose him, I don't know what the outcome will be then. But at the minute, I'm pretty relaxed about it. Lack of Levi says Konate for Rodrigo and maybe some money. Maybe some money. I would say So let's say Rodrigo's valued at £85 million, which is roughly €100 million, and we value Konate at, I believe Liverpool value him somewhere between 40 and 50. Real Madrid's valuation to Konate will no doubt be probably something like 20, 25, because they'll play the whole 1 year to go malarkey. So I would say if you could do a deal, 45-ish on top of Konate, I'd think that 40 would be ideal, but 45-ish and getting a valuation of him about 35, I think would be great for me as a fan. But ultimately, I'll be honest with you, if that deal happened, I probably wouldn't give a shit about the numbers involved in it, because it would be getting rid of the headache of a player who may not want to stay at the club and could walk out for free in a year's time. So it would remove the headache and bring in a good player as well. Yeah, I don't really think I'd mind too much as long as we went out there and brought in two centre-backs, quick, smart. I don't get players wanting to leave this current Liverpool setup to go to basket case that Real Madrid is right now. As a Liverpool fan, sir, I agree with you. And I think things are about to get a bit nasty at Real Madrid as well, because the fans are starting to get really outspoken in their unhappiness around Kylian Mbappe. With Madrid signing tactics, should we give longer contracts to players? I definitely think, George or Jorge, I'm not sure which way to pronounce it, I definitely think it is going to see a change in football, all right, where clubs, either the contracts start to get a bit longer or the negotiating starts further out. And if you get to the 2-year mark and you haven't got an agreement, then maybe you look to a sale at that point. But something has to be done, mate, because what's happening here sucks, right? We've seen Trent go out, and now they're looking to do Konate with the same thing. So something has to happen, right? Something has to happen. Lexington said Madrid need Konate now. Well, then they're going to have to pony up, aren't they? And the 17 to 21 million pound that was mentioned the other day won't get it done. See, I think the trick here is we don't know definitively if Liverpool really have an interest in Rodrigo or not. We all hope that we do. Well, I think most of us probably hope that we do. But if we don't, will Madrid put up the amount for Konate that Liverpool would be happy with? Will Crystal Palace drop the £50 million valuation of Mark Gay down to something closer to 40? Both clubs at the minute, Liverpool and Palace, seem to be valuing their players at £50 million with a year to go. Mark Gay, 50 million, Konate, 50 million. And honestly, with 1 year to go on both their deals, I think they're both 10 million overpriced. But let's wait and see how it pans out. I don't know what the plan is for Madrid. I don't know if they come forward with an offer or if they are going to dig their heels in and try to get him on a free.